Today on the table we have the Grylls Ultimate Knife. I'm just going to go ahead and jump into my talking points about this. First thing, I'm going to go a little bit about the history of the knife. Grylls, in conjunction with Gerber, designed this knife and is what he calls to be his ultimate survival knife. I think for my R&R, or reason and rolls, this knife is more or less probably collectible. It is a highly functioning blade. I guess I'll go into specifications. The blade length is 4.8 inches. The weight overall is 14.7 ounces, which for me, for a 5.5 ounce knife, might be, a little heavy. But I'll get into a little bit more about the specifications and stuff. The knife is 1/2 an inch of serrated high carbon stainless steel, which I think it's alright. I think the stainless steel does kind of make it a little bit hard to sharpen. This knife has been kind of difficult to sharpen in my experience, even though I have been able to get it sharp. Probably not as sharp as I'd like. Things that it comes with is actually it has supposedly a rubberized handle. I find it traction to be adequate, and the jimping, I probably, if I was doing something like that, I probably wouldn't use it like that. And if I was wearing gloves, I'd probably choke up a little bit more, because you only have half of the blade that's like that. You have the half serrations, which I am not a fan of the serrations. But let's see. The stainless steel pommel at the end, as you can see, is meant for hammering things, whichever you need done. Or it can also be used as a non-lethal impact tool. It has a lanyard hole. And actually, getting the lanyard hole, there's 3 of them, so you can supposedly lash it to a stick and make a spear. Though I don't think I would make it into a spear. I don't think it would serve that role, depending on what you're using it for. I guess if you're hunting some boars or something, I guess you could use it in such a role, or a defensive role against maybe an animal or something, if you're in a survival situation. But I think the main role that I put this knife is more for collectability and just fun. If I was going out in the wilderness, I don't think I'd feel ill-equipped with this, and really it is the only type of survival knife I have, but it probably wouldn't be my first choice. I would probably go with a little bit longer blade and probably something a little bit stronger, though I have not seen anything really go wrong with this blade. The serrations, I tried batoning through a little bit, and they started to dull, and they started to bend and stuff, so that was probably be the biggest con to this. And that's mostly just the knife. Now I'm going to get into the sheath that it comes with. It comes with a pretty nice sheath, I have to say. Back here, the belt loop rides kinda high, because you have this whole part right here going up if you're going to wear it on your belt, which I think it'd be adequate, but it sticks into your side. I've worn it on my belt and it does stick into your side, unless you have like maybe a low wearing belt or something. I think you could use it as a molly attachment, because you have these 2 right here, be able to go ahead and lash it on, but I probably wouldn't suggest that either. Things that it comes with this really nice hard plastic sheath, though I will say that mine is a little loose. It does fit in and it does work pretty well, but I can jiggle it out. I think the main reason for that is that I think mine is right there, as you can see, if I pull it a little bit, is broken. The retention is kind of loose, in which I have found that if you push it back together, it keeps it in really strong. And I've messed with other knives and the sheaths are very strong. So I think mine came kind of loose. I you could probably fix it. But to me, it's not a big deal because I usually have the other strap on here. And if I don't use it, which is kind of cool, is you can flip it around to the back and use the Velcro, and it'll stay out of the way, and then you can have just the first retention, which is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the greatest, but hey. Let's see. On the back here we have a diamond sharpening stone. I haven't used it that much, so I don't have much experience with it. I think it would work, but I personally use my other stones to keep it sharp. Here I just lashed some 550 to it to just have some cordage if I ever needed it, which I think would work. It comes with this fire starter. It's a ferrocium rod. It fits really snug in there. I wouldn't have anything bad about that. Actually, it's kind of weird. I actually left this out in the middle of pretty harsh weather, and for I'd say maybe 2 weeks, just sitting out there in pretty cold, snowing weather, and blade's fine. It's kind of dirty, but hey. The ferrocium rod, as you can see, it works. I've started probably 3 or 4 fires with it. It is nice. It functions as a fire starter. I would say that up here at the top, you can have some scratching and remove some material. I have not found that to be any detrimental to the retention of this in there, but that's just something to just be careful with while you're using it. Actually, I've used mine quite a bit, as you can see, but it works. The whistle's really loud, and it first came on the butt end of the knife, but I switched it to this to have the little bit more added retention, because I put it in here and hide it behind here and then retain it with the Velcro, right, like that. And that way, if this came loose, I'd have a much harder time just leaving. So, something to think about. I think I saw that on another YouTube video. I'm not for sure, but if you see that, I probably got it from that. It probably wasn't me thinking about that. I believe it was Equipped to Endure did that. Great channel. But that was just a little bit of look. Size and feel of the knife. Overall, I think the knife feels pretty good. It's very solid. It's pretty well balanced. It's kind of more hilt heavy because of the steel impact hammer, whatever you want to call it. But I wouldn't plan on doing any fighting with this. As maybe in an emergency, it would definitely work. The tip is not the sharpest tip, honestly, so I wouldn't think about it. Oh, back here it has a serration or a cutout that is meant to go with the fire steel. I'm not going to demonstrate that, but it goes here and it throws the sparks. The best way I've found of doing that, though, is to actually use it with the knife pointed towards you and pull along this edge right here. If you do this way, it'll work, but it's not as good in my use as doing it that way. So, something to think about. I would be a little bit more careful with that, because then you have the knife coming up and you could cut yourself, but I have not cut myself doing that, so it hasn't bothered me. Let's see. Let's go back. That's value. I think you can get these around 50-ish. I actually got mine as a present because I'm a huge Bear Grylls fan and Man vs. Wild. So I got this as a birthday present, and I've really enjoyed having it. and I've really enjoyed just playing with it mostly, and taking it out and thumping on it and stuff like that. It's nice, but it is heavy for a 5-inch blade, almost, not even with all the extra things on there. I think it's a bit heavy. I think that you could get a nicer blade, probably bigger, for just a little bit extra weight. Let's see. Overall, I like this blade. I like it a lot, despite the weight. I haven't had to go backpacking or anything with it, so can't really talk too much about that. But my main reason for having it is I love Bear Grylls. I love watching the show. I think it's a great show. And Gerber's a good company as well. All of their stuff I've ever owned, I've thought to be pretty good quality. So I guess other than the sheath coming apart, which I guess might be a quality issue or just something that hiccuped, I haven't had any problems with the knife. I think it's performed adequately. The serrations I'm not a big fan of, and they started to bend on me. And I guess that and the sheath not retention holding too well. Probably the only two beefs I've had about the knife. Oh, back here. Under this rubberized pad, it's supposed to have this priorities of survival, which when it's folded in there at first, it's damn near impossible to get out. So I just kind of folded it up a little bit longer and just slide it in there like that to have a little bit more of a tab to be able to pull it out. And I think its retention is adequate if you ever needed to use this. The stuff on here is kind of neat. It's kind of dirty, but it has something about how to build certain types of shelters. It has a ruler in centimeters and inches, I believe. Yep, right here. Here's inches, and on the back there's centimeters. Has something about making fires, signaling. Has quite a few little things on here. I think another thing is it talks about clothing, but I kind of don't see the need for having that on here if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you're having to use this as its intended purpose. Anyway, overall, I think it's a nice knife. I think the value is probably adequate. And overall, I just like having it. It's more or less a collector for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. Comment, subscribe. I got some other knives and stuff I should probably do reviews on. Anyway, take care.